Welcome back to another episode of Come Follow Christ. I'm your host, Jason, where I love helping you stay focused on Jesus Christ every day and in every way. And in today's episode, we're going to be covering something that happened on Sunday, January the 11th, 2026. I'm recording this on January 11th, but I'm actually not releasing this until Tuesday. So this is about a day and a half ago when this happened. But it is about the dedication of the Burley Idaho Temple by President Dallin H. And it stands as a deeply significant moment in the unfolding work of the Lord in these latter days. Held on January 11th, 2026, this sacred event marked President Oak's first temple dedication as prophet, a milestone that carries both personal meaning and prophetic symbolism. The Burley Idaho Temple, now the seventh temple in Idaho and the 212th operating temple of the church, rises as a testament to the faith of the saints in this region and to the accelerating pace of temple building across the earth. As the Lord declared, I will hasten my work in its time. That is referenced from Doctrine and Covenants, section 88, verse 73, and this dedication stands as a witness to that promise being fulfilled. President Oak's connection to this temple runs deeper than administrative assignment. Having spent part of his childhood in southern Idaho, returning to dedicate a temple in this region held profound personal significance for him. Before President Russell M. Nelson passed away, he invited his counselors to choose a temple that they would like to dedicate in the future. President Oaks chose Burley. This choice reflects not only affection for the area, but also a prophetic vision to the Lord's work moving forward in humble, covenant keeping communities. President Nelson often taught that the temple lies at the center of strengthening our faith and spiritual fortitude, and President Oak's choice reflects that same priority. This being his first temple dedication as prophet is a powerful symbol of where President Oaks has anchored his ministry in Jesus Christ, in covenants, and in the holy temples that define the gathering of Israel. This is meaningful that his first dedication took place not in a major world capital, but in a faithful agricultural community, reminding us of the Lord's words from Doctrine and Covenants, section 1, verse 19, that says, The weak things of the world shall come forth and break down the mighty and strong ones. The Lord often advances his work through ordinary Latter day Saints living extraordinary discipleship. During the dedicatory prayer, President Oaks invoked heaven's power upon the temple, asking that the Lord's Spirit and glory would always be present within its walls. His words emphasize that the work performed in temples is centered entirely on Jesus Christ. Everything learned, promised, and performed in the temples points to him. President Oaks testified, the work of temples is centered on our Savior and Redeemer, Jesus Christ. All that is learned and done here relates to him. This echoes the Savior's own declaration from John 14, verse 6, I am the way, the truth, and the life. In a world filled with noise, distraction, and spiritual confusion, temples stand as immovable reminders of who we worship, what we covenant, and where our eternal home lies. The Burley Idaho Temple itself is a beautiful structure. It's 38,600 square feet across 2 stories. Designed to serve thousands of saints in the region, its architecture reflects purity, light, and the eternal nature of God's work. The Lord declared, Organize yourselves, prepare every needful thing, and establish a house of glory, a house of order, a house of God. That verse is from Doctrine and Covenants, section 88, verse 119. The Burley Temple stands as literal fulfillment of that commandment. Temples are rising across the earth at an unprecedented pace, fulfilling prophecy and preparing the world for the return of the Savior. President Nelson taught, "The temple is the object of every activity, every lesson, every progressive step in the church. The rapid expansion of temples is not incidental, it is prophetic." Jesus Christ taught that before his return, the gospel would be preached in all the world and his covenant people gathered. Temples are the gathering places of Israel. They are the spiritual engines of the restoration. Every new temple is a sign that the gathering is accelerating, the covenant power is increasing on the earth, and that the saints are being prepared for the return of the Lord. The Lord himself said in Doctrine and Covenants 38, verse 32, "I will give unto you my law, and there you shall be endowed with power from on high." That endowment of power is central to temple worship and essential for the saints in the last days. Temples prepare a covenant people. Through temple covenants, saints receive power, protection, and spiritual refinement, qualities essential for those who will stand ready when the Lord returns. The Savior taught in Doctrine and Covenants 38, verse 30, "If ye are prepared, ye shall not fear." The temple is the Lord's appointed place of preparation. Temples also fulfill ancient prophecy. Isaiah foresaw a day when the Lord's house would be established in the top of the mountains and all nations would flow into it, as mentioned in Isaiah 2, verse 2. The Burley Idaho Temple, standing in the high plains of Idaho, is part of that unfolding prophecy. Its very existence testifies that the Lord is gathering his people and preparing the earth for his return. Another essential purpose of temples is the redemption of the dead. The second coming is not only about the living, it is about the entire human family. Temples allow the saints to perform ordinances for their ancestors, ensuring that the hearts of the children turn to their fathers before the great and dreadful day of the Lord, as mentioned in Malachi chapter 4, verses 5 and 6. This work binds generations together and fulfills prophecy in a literal, powerful way. Temples also bring the presence of Jesus Christ into our lives. President Oaks prayed that the Lord's Spirit and glory would always be present in the Burley Temple. Temples are places where saints learn to recognize the whisperings of the Spirit, feel the presence of the Savior, and prepare spiritually for His return. The Lord promised in Doctrine and Covenants 84, verse 88, "My Spirit shall be in your hearts, and mine angels round about you to bear you up." That promise is realized in temple worship. In addition, temples anchor us in holiness amid the turbulent world. President Oaks testified that temple worship leads members to overcome challenging times. As society becomes more divided and uncertain, the temple offers stability, perspective, and spiritual grounding. The Savior taught in John 16, verse 33, "In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world." The temple is where we learn how to overcome the world through Him. Temples also train us for a millennial life. The temple teaches order, holiness, unity, and covenant loyalty, the very attributes that will define life during the millennium. In this case, temple worship is not only preparation for eternity, it is rehearsal for the world to come. The Lord said in Doctrine and Covenants 82, verse 14, "Zion must increase in beauty and in holiness," and temple worship is the pathway to that holiness. The Burley Idaho Temple stands as a beacon of hope to the saints of Idaho and beyond. It is a place where families are sealed eternally, where covenants are made and renewed, where revelation is received, and where the power of godliness is manifest. The Lord promised, "In my house I will manifest myself to my people in mercy. That is mentioned in Doctrine and Covenants, section 110, verse 7. That promise is being fulfilled every day in temples across the earth. President Oak's first temple dedication as prophet being in Burley is not a coincidence. It is a divine marker. It signals that the Lord's work is moving forward with power and that his prophet is leading the church deeper into temple-centered discipleship. It is a reminder that the Lord knows his people and places his holy houses exactly where they are needed. The dedication of the Burley Idaho Temple is more than a local celebration. It is a prophetic milestone. It is a declaration that Jesus Christ is the center of the church, that his temples are rising across the earth, and that his people are being prepared for his return. The Savior declared in Revelation 22, verse 20, "I come quickly," and temples are the clearest sign that his coming draws nearer. As President Oaks dedicated this holy house, he helped prepare not only the saints of Idaho, but all of us for the glorious day when the Savior will come again. The Burley Temple stands as a witness that the Lord is hastening his work in its time. It is a symbol of covenant belonging, of eternal families, and of the Savior's love for all his people. As we reflect on this dedication, we are invited to recommit ourselves to temple worship, to covenant faithfulness, and to discipleship centered in Jesus Christ. The temple calls us to higher ground, to deeper devotion, and to greater spiritual readiness. The Lord declared in Doctrine and Covenants 88, verse 68, "Sanctify yourselves, that your minds become single to God." And temple worship is the pathway to that sanctification. The Burley, Idaho Temple, now dedicated and consecrated to the Lord, stands as a sacred witness that heaven is drawing nearer. It is a house of holiness, a house of learning, a house of covenants, and a house of glory. And it stands as a reminder that the Lord is preparing his people for the greatest event in human history, the second coming of Jesus Christ. So, I thank you for joining me today on Come Follow Christ. I hope that you found this episode to be inspiring for you to know a little bit more about the temple and to learn a little bit about the dedication of the Burley, Idaho Temple. I invite you to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below what temple district you're in. I would love to know where that you are listening or watching this episode from. And I also want to ask you to reach out. Let me know what subjects and topics you'd like me to cover this year. So I love you. I thank you for joining in, and I love helping you stay focused on Jesus Christ every day in every way.